School. Check it out. For more details, beonair.com.
I couldn't have said it better myself. This is Jonathan Hood, instructor at the Illinois Media School, formerly Illinois Center for Broadcasting. So many reasons for you to consider Illinois Media School: financial aid for those who qualify, real-world hands-on experience, internships, and so much more. Don't just take my word for it. Set up a tour at one of the 2 Chicagoland locations. Go to beonair.com/Chicago Sports to learn more. That's beonair.com/Chicago Sports.
You're listening to ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. It's not just sports, it's a way of life.
Chicagoland Sports Radio Sports Update.
At 2 o'clock, I'm the Goon with your ChicagolandSportsRadio.com update, brought to you by the Illinois Media School. For more information on careers in broadcasting, go to beonair.com. The Cubs and Cardinals were snowed out yesterday. Anthony Rizzo also looks to return to the lineup. Tyler Chatwood gets the start for the North Side against Adam Wainwright. First pitch comes from Wrigley at 7:05. The White Sox lost to the Oakland Athletics 8-1 last night. Jose Abreu provided the only offense in front of a crowd of 7,500. Miguel Gonzalez gets the start against former Cub Trevor Cahill. First pitch comes from Oakland at 9:05. The NHL playoffs rolled on last night. Toronto beat Boston 4-2. New Jersey beat Tampa Bay 5-2. San Jose beat Anaheim 8-1. And Colorado beat Nashville 5-3. Boston, Tampa Bay, and Nashville all lead their respective series 2-1, while San Jose leads their series 3-0. Tonight's games include Washington and Columbus, Winnipeg and Minnesota, and the Golden Knights look to eliminate the Los Angeles Kings tonight as they hold a 3-0 lead in their series. This update is also brought to you by IIT Men's Baseball. The next home game broadcast will be April 17th when they take on Wisconsin Whitewater at 1 and 4 p.m. For tickets, visit IllinoisTechAthletics.com. I'm the Goon, and you're listening to Chicagoland Sports Radio. It's not just sports, it's a way of life. Live on Chicagoland Sports Radio, it's the Penalty Box with 3 guys, 2 hours of hockey, and 1 Goontastic show.
Seabrook alive. 42, Seabrook.
Here's Panera. Final seconds. Panera walks in, scores. Hat-trick goal. Here come the Hats. In front of that, they score. It's him again. He's at it again.
Back to Seabrook. Let's go. Seabrook.
It's only a game. Why do you have to be mad?
Back ahead comes Seabrook, but it's shot.
Clear. Atkinson sends it wide. Misses the hat-trick second time. Puts it in with 8/10 of a second left.
Here's a shot. Scores off the top of the circle. Willie Nylander ends a drought.
Now, here's the Iceman, Hot Take Nikos, and the Goon.
Get crazy, get wild, let's party, get loud. If you want to have fun, do something.
That's right, it is Tuesday, and it is time for the Penalty Box with Hot Take Nikos and the Goon, as we're getting crazy here today.
Oh, okay. So before we get started with the playoffs, I just want to let you know that Patrick Kane is not the second best player.
Shut up, dude.
NHL.
You know what? I'm gonna make that argument.
There's no way. All right, so this guy, we're literally before the show happens, we're literally just talking like, oh, I was talking with somebody who's better, Ovechkin or Crosby, and I was like, obviously, I would say Crosby's better because he wins the Stanley Cup and the second round, blah 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 blah. You understand that fight? And he was like, I was like, oh, the second best player in the NHL is obviously Connor McDavid. And this guy, the Homer Blackhawks fan, is like, no, it has to be Patrick Kane. What is your argument?
Hold on, though. You're trying to tell me that a guy who's been in the league for 2 years is a better caliber player than Patrick Kane.
Yeah.
Give him a few years, and maybe I will take that argument to heart.
No, he's won 2 consecutive scoring titles. He's dragged that team, the Edmonton Oilers. He does it all himself. Patrick Kane does not do it all himself.
Okay, this is where you don't watch Blackhawks hockey, because
this season.
Even if you look at this season, if Patrick Kane is going, the offense is going. If Patrick Kane doesn't go, and I look back at 2015, and I realize this is 3 years ago, But look at how bad that team was after Patrick Kane goes down with that collarbone injury. All of a sudden, he comes back for the playoffs, and they win the Stanley Cup.
Okay, but in defense of that, it seemed like the Blackhawks always stopped playing after like December. Usually, before when they could, they stopped playing after December anyway. So even when he was doing good, it wasn't like the team itself was doing well. Because I mean, I'm just saying, 2 consecutive scoring titles, 20 years old, 19 years old, winning it. He is the second best player in NHL.
Just because you're commanding second best player NHL salary doesn't make you the second best NHL player.
I'm not talking about salary.
No.
I'm talking
I'm just saying.
player.
I'm saying, better overall player.
Corsi rating, everything. She's a way better player. Okay, you know what? Patrick Kane is top 100. Doesn't make no sense. Look, dude, he's 330 goal seasons. That's it. All right, better player than Kane, who has a longer record. Evgeny Malkin.
How many playoff goals has Connor McDavid scored?
Okay, so if you don't want to go with Connor McDavid, Evgeny Malkin, then are you gonna fight with Malkin's not better than Kane? What's your argument?
I will fight with that.
You can't. They both have 3 Stanley Cups. He has way better. I can't, dude. I can't. You can't tell me Patrick Kane's the next.
Patrick Kane can play on a line all by himself.
And Malkin can't.
No.
Who does he play with?
I don't know.
Exactly. Shut up.
You shut up.
You can't even tell me that.
Let's have a relevant discussion today. How does that sound?
It's relevant.
All right.
Connor McDavid's always relevant.
You can get in on this argument actually at the penalty box at Penalty Box CSR on Twitter, and you can vote on our poll. Who is the better player? The options are Patrick Kane, Connor McDavid, and Evgeny Malkin. I couldn't spell Evgeny, and I wasn't about to take that on Twitter, so I just put Malkin. So tell us what you think, or better yet, call us at 773-966-2494. Have an argument with us. Tell Nico he is wrong. I understand that he's trying to give hot takes already, into the show, but come on, man.
I posted this about 10 minutes ago on my own Twitter. You follow me at Michaels_Nikos. And 80. Okay, so one person voted for Patrick Kane. I'm assuming that was you. And the rest of them are the obvious choice, Connor McDavid. And I put Alexander Ovechkin because I'm not ignorant to his pedigree of playness.
Okay, and Ovi, all right, you know what? Fine. You want to make that argument that Ovechkin's the second best player in the league? I'll buy that argument.
He's not. He's not the same.
I'll buy the argument. I will buy that argument.
Oh, he hasn't won a cup.
So winning Stanley Cups aren't everything.
Kind of is.
No, it's not.
Who do you remember more? Pierre Turgeon or Steve Yzerman?
Steve Yzerman.
Okay, why?
Well, let's see. Growing up, the Red Wings were a huge rivalry with the Blackhawks.
And if they didn't win the cup, you wouldn't even remember Steve Yzerman. But Pierre Turgeon, it may not be the best comparison, but still saying they had a similar course where Steve Yzerman was a really good offensive player, and then he turned it down after a while, and then he became a better two-way player, and they won the cup. The Red Wings were known as the Dead Wings prior to that.
Yeah.
To that cup, and they said Steve Yzerman will never win a cup. They said his teams were trash and everything. Then he wins the cup, and everyone suddenly, oh, he's so good. Oh,
well, that's their first mistake, is calling a team trash.
Okay, well, you just.
I mean, even though I did it on my Facebook this morning with the Anaheim Ducks.
You're a walking controversy.
A walking controversy. Thanks, man. You know what? Get out.
Okay, let's talk about something.
All right.
That's
so
the playoffs are awesome.
All right, yes, the playoffs are awesome. Some of these series have been better than others. Let's go ahead and start in the Western Conferences. We have some notes to talk about here. San Jose is on the verge of sweeping Anaheim.
Oh man, that series. I know a lot of people aren't watching it because the majority of people are on Eastern and the Midwest. I can't even think of the word. But you guys are literally sleeping on this series. If you're not a Ducks fan, obviously it's not too good. But if you're a Sharks fan, oh man, this is. I got the Heatley jersey out. If you watch,
he's wearing the All-Star jersey today.
I am an All-Star. This series is awesome. Like there's just goal scoring. There's just great puck movement. Like I feel like this is the series that not to go on to the other series at 3-0, But like, I feel like this is a series that Vegas and LA are trying to have, and Vegas is trying to score all these goals, but it's not really happening because Jonathan Quick is stopping them. Gibson's not stopping them.
No, and and nothing against John Gibson. I thought he played pretty good, throughout the season. The main thing about Anaheim that they're not getting is their big guys to start scoring.
Yeah.
You look at the top 3 scorers right now on the Anaheim Ducks. You have Hampus Lindholm, who has a goal and an assist. Ryan Getzlaf has 2 assists. Ricard Raquel has a goal. Where are their big guns? Like, where is Corey Perry and Ryan Getzlaf? There is no offense to this team.
Okay, yeah, I will put in defense because you've seen the games, you've seen some of these. I'll put in defense that Ricard Raquel, he's been the only guy who's really like throwing, like, they're passing the puck and he's shooting it. It's just not going in for the guy. Like, if that guy's a snake-bitten player in the playoffs right now, he's the number 1 guy. This guy, they're throwing him one-timers on the point, or from the point, from where Ovechkin stands. He's shooting all these pucks. They're going off the post. They're just getting stopped. And I really feel for the guy. You'll see him after he'll shoot these pucks. Like, come on, one of these has to go in. And I feel like if he can actually get a puck in the net, that's a game changer for.
You might help him with his confidence level and whatnot.
I think anybody will tell you if you just get that one thing that goes right, sometimes you'll roll the ball from there. And I feel like he's one of those players that can do that. And even like I was watching the game they played last night. Yeah, they did play last night. And Ryan, I don't know what's up with Ryan Getzlaf. This may be a hot take, but you think this is the last time that Ryan Getzlaf and Corey Perry they're considered elite players? This is it for them for playoffs.
You know what? I kind of had that feeling back in 2015.
I think last year they made it to the conference finals, and I feel like they ran out of gas going against Nashville, and I feel like it was more they were like, all right, this is it, we lost it, we're done. And then this season with all the injuries that happened, Kessler still doesn't look the same. I didn't see him out there. I probably should have, but I really didn't see him do anything, which makes sense. I don't know. It's just this team, they don't. If your top 2 centers aren't producing, you have a top center like Ryan Getzlaf, who isn't as prime anymore, and you have Ryan Kessler, who's injured. He can't skate right. And you have Raquel, who plays on the wing but doesn't really play center. It just hurts them down the middle.
And not to mention, you just mentioned Ryan Kessler. He did have a hip injury to start the year, so I'm wondering if maybe that is just slowing him down a little bit, with that. And let's be honest, you look at the goalie matchup here with Martin Jones and John Gibson. It's like night and day.
Yeah, I'm looking at Kessler's. Usually Kessler's a really good face-off man, but he's taken let's just say he's won 27 face-offs and he's lost 47 of them.
Yeah, so that's insane when you think about it that way. I mean,
yeah, something's going on with them. Something's not right. I mean, if you don't have your top 2 centers playing at a top pace in which you kind of need to win in the playoffs, you're going to get beat like how they're getting beat by the San Jose Sharks. That's kind of why they're down 3-0 in their series.
The Sharks put up 4 power play goals last night. Do you think that is going to, if the Sharks get power play opportunities in Game 4 and they capitalize, is that going to be the telltale sign if the series ends in a sweep or not?
Special teams are so critical in the playoffs, and I think anybody will tell you that. And obviously the Ducks aren't coming up for either the penalty kill or the power play is not showing up. So, and the Sharks are capitalizing on both those weaknesses.
Absolutely. All right, that's where we're going to leave it there. When we come back, we're going to Sin City. We're going to talk a little bit of Vegas and a little bit of LA here on the Penalty Box. With Hot Take Nikos and the Goon, we'll be right back here on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
I got started at IMS here as an instructor a couple years back after I had heard a couple of people I worked with were also instructors here. I'm always here if you need help with developing what you're passionate about. And that's what most people come here for. They have a passion. They want to do something. They want to do radio play-by-play. They want to do sports talk. They want to do updates, whatever it may be. My name is Freddie Hubner. I work at ESPN 1000 as a host and sports anchor, and I am IMS.
Next time on the Penalty Box, the NHL playoffs are finally in full swing, and we're just getting started.
What's up, bro?
Tune in for the best reaction to the games, as well as in-depth analysis in both conferences. We're just two guys putting the goon back into hockey.
Oh no, that was so by accident. Buddy, you sucked at hockey.
Take a seat in the penalty box with Hot Take Nikos and the Goon. Tuesdays from 2 to 4 on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
I'm here with Rick, and let me tell you why Stipe Miocic will stay the champ after July 7th. He's going to break DC down mentally before knocking her out again. Lights out, big baby.
Hell no. DC's going to connect that oversized chin, and his punches are going to make him feel like he's kissing the freight train.
Stay tuned to hear more of this conversation leading up to UFC 226 when Miocic fights Cormier in the main event.
This is Ray Forrest, ring announcer and commentator for Premier Boxing Champions. When I'm in Chicago on Wednesdays from 4 to 6, I'm listening to the Her and Him Show with Amber and Joe on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. Check out Amber's Hot Wire, Joe's Binge On, and also Vitamin A with your fit model, Amber J. Gentlemen, summer season's around the corner. Get fit with your girl, Amber J. The Her and Him Show, Wednesdays 4 to 6 on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. Joe has the news. Amber has the fitness. Check it out Wednesdays 4 to 6.
This Friday on Inside the Locker Room, it's a playoff special. 40 games and 40 nights. Win or go home. Chris and I will predict and discuss first-round matchups of the NBA playoffs. Warriors Spurs. Raptors Wizards. Heat Sixers. Pelicans Blazers. Bucks Celtics. Jazz Thunder. Pacers Cavs. And the Wolves and the Rockets. Also, Marcus and I will discuss Cubs and White Sox. So tune in this Friday, 12 noon on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
I think we're all ready to play some baseball.
That's right, Chicago. The Cubs and Sox are back home again. The weather may be chilly, but baseball season has really begun to heat up here in the city.
Santa Maria!
That is why you should tune into Deep in the Dugout for all of your baseball discussion every Monday from 2 to 4 p.m. on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com, where it's not just sports, it's a way of life.
As the winter sports playoff picture begins, the Chicago Bulls will miss the playoffs, as well as the Blackhawks for the first time in nearly a decade. Tune into the K-Trey Show every Monday night from 7 to 9, only on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com, as we break down the playoffs for the NHL and NBA, as well as talk baseball. And don't forget, wrestling. Tune into the K-Trey Show every Monday night from 7 to 9, only on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com, as we break down the hottest stories in Chicago. That's 7 to 9 p.m. Monday nights, only on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
Fasten your seatbelts, folks, as we fast break towards the NBA playoffs with B. Charles Parger-Ritchie, Sid the Kid, and Corey Barber.
Playoffs? We'll talk about playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
Also, we recap the bowl season and forecast their off season. Plus, Cubs and Sox baseball coverage. Remember the huddle up on the Bears as they prepare for the NFL draft.
Would be FIRST first.
So tune in to On Deck every Saturday from 2 to 4 p.m. on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
Time to kick off your career in radio or TV broadcasting at the Illinois Media School's downtown Chicago campus. Call us at 312-884-8000 or visit 530 South State Street to learn how you can make your dreams of being on television and radio a reality. Don't take my word for it. Check out what some industry professionals said about the Illinois Media School.
Tom Waddle, ESPN 1000.
Don't waste another minute in a career you don't love. You can be the next great announcer, DJ, producer, or TV reporter. You'll learn key skills from industry pros while working with professional equipment on air and behind the scenes. Still need to keep the 9-to-5 job? Their flexible class schedules can work around any schedule. Short on cash? They have very affordable tuition and financial aid for those who qualify. You'll have access to amazing internships and job placement assistance when you graduate at top radio and TV stations like ESPN. Learn more at beonair.com/Chicago Sports. That's beonair.com/Chicago Sports.
That's right. We're back here on the penalty box with Hot Take Nikos and the Goon.
What up?
All right, so let's go ahead and get into this Vegas series because it's been pretty intense both ways, looking at goalie stats and whatnot. I'm sorry. You're making sure your mic's on.
Can hear myself.
No, I would. I'm not gonna mute you after what you just said to me during the break. All right.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he still thinks that Patrick Kane's saying, okay, we're done. All right. Well, Vegas is also up 3-0. Also, well, I'm actually writing a blog about hockey, and I'm actually writing about the Vegas Golden Knights, how they're still considered in, well, obviously they are an expansion team, but they're saying an expansion team as still a bad team. You know,
Yeah.
they're not given the type of respect that I feel that a caliber team that this squad is.
Do they deserve it though?
Yeah, they were in top of their Pacific Division the entire season.
So
I'm okay, and now they're 3-0 in a Stanley Cup playoffs. They have, I think they have like 6 20-goal scorers on their team. Wild Bill was third in Wild Bill Carlson was third in the league for NHL goal scoring, and I mean right now they're dominating the LA Kings. Like up and down, offensively, defensively, their goaltending duo is pretty equal. I mean, granted, you know, there's not a lot of goals being scored in this series, which if you're just looking at stats and whatnot, you're probably thinking, oh, we know these teams can score. But geez, the Vegas Golden Knights are just going up and down the ice.
It's basically been Marc-Andre Fleury versus Jonathan Quick. Jonathan Quick, who's 0-3, granted, you know, has a goals against average of 1.69 and a save percentage of 95%.
Yeah.
It doesn't get any better than that for a team in the playoffs.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, and it sucks. I thought that I think it was game 1 where Shea Theodore, he comes in, scores that goal in the first period, and I was like, all right, all LA needs to do is score 2, and you're good. Obviously, score a goal, and you're back in this series or back in that game, and it just never happened. And it was just like you're wasting these fantastic plays by Jonathan Quick, and how are you going to sit here and tell me that you guys can't score more than 3 goals through 3 games?
You know, and that's a good point. When you look at the top goal scorers from LA, Ante Kopitar has a goal and an assist. Dion Phaneuf has an assist. Dustin Brown has an assist, and I know you're kind of probably like, why does he mention Dion Phaneuf? But he has a score. You know, he's on the score sheet. We just talked about the Ducks and their big guns not being there.
Right.
And I know you were trying to tell me that LA doesn't have any. I'm telling you right now, though.
They have Drew Doughty and then Kopitar.
Yeah.
Or and Jeff Carter. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you have those stats for LA. So now those are the only guys with people on the score sheet, right?
Right.
Now, the Vegas Golden Knights only have 6 goals scored in this entire series. But look at this score. All the people that scoring. You have Alex Tuch, 2 points. Theodore, 2 points. James Neal, 2 points. Smith, 2. Marchessault, 2. And then the rest. There's only on this whole squad of team. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's only out of their 18-man roster or 18 players. I can't do math right now, but there's only like 7 players who haven't scored a point throughout the whole team. That's nuts.
Yeah, you know, and you just mentioned that it's pretty good. I would like to see a little bit more scoring in this series. And there's another one that, you know, if you're not on the West Coast, you're probably not watching a lot of Golden Knights hockey. And me included, I haven't really had a chance to look at, you know, a lot of these series, only from the standpoint of every game starts at 9:30.
Yeah, that sucks about that. But I mean, you're missing out on some good hockey there. I mean, they're like I said, scoring is down, but the offense in the game, it's awesome. I mean, the up and down hockey, just the cycle game is crazy. Like the Golden Knights they play a really simple game plan. So you cycle down low a little bit, and they throw it back up to their point, and they just shoot it back down, and it goes in. I mean, it's a really simple game plan, but it works out. And obviously, this whole season, it's been really big for them. And I mean, I think a highlight of this series is the coming out party of Shea Theodore for that team. He's carrying up the puck. He's going up. He's shooting. I don't know. This guy is in unreal mode right now for a rookie defenseman.
Definitely. Speaking of defensemen, were you a fan of the Drew Doughty suspension?
I really don't know. I was in between because it looked like he came across. You can't do that anymore in today's NHL. You can't just go around get the railroad tracks going and you just hit somebody. You can't do that. But it didn't look like he got him with his shoulder. But it looked like the other player that he hit, he turned down a little bit, so it did catch him in the head. I don't think it was a violent hit. I think it just happened so fast. I think that's an excuse for any of these suspensions.
So you're saying that the player who he hit put himself in a vulnerable position?
I mean, when you're carrying the puck and you have it. I mean, at the same time, Drew Doughty that entire game was frustrated and he was looking for revenge to get a hit, so he was coming out with a violent intent. Now, I don't think he was looking to like hurt somebody in the head, but I think he was trying to send a message to the other team. Message sent, and he got suspended for it. You can't. I think they're trying. It just wasn't really. I think it was a deserved suspension, but I realistically think in the playoffs, if you put yourself in that situation, no, I think you have to suspend the guy for that because they don't want the series running rampant.
Right. I understand that they're trying to keep everything sort of. I'm trying to think of the word here. Composed,
right.
Per se. The NHL would like to see that happen. However, you can't make it to where players are afraid to hit. And that goes for the regular season and the playoffs.
Yeah.
As we'll get to another player who was suspended here, in just a little bit. I got to say, I'm just, you mentioned that Doughty was frustrated. Arguably so. He was getting hit. Some of the hits that I saw on him weren't that clean.
I mean, this whole that's what I mean. There's two different sets of rules that's going, which is frustrating every single fan right now in the NHL. It doesn't matter what series. The refereeing is so inconsistent, and I feel like if you're gonna call something, call it consistently. I mean, if you're gonna call a hit like that, then make sure the next hit when someone butts somebody with the end of their stick, it's gonna be a call, but nothing. And they're like, "Oh, just let him play." But then you call a hit. I don't know. I was watching the Philadelphia and Penn series, and McDonald hits Hornquist from behind when they're going into the corner, and it was like, all right, that's a hitting from behind for McDonald. But then Hornquist Hornquist hit his head on the back of the end boards really hard, and you can't sell somebody hitting you from behind, and they called it for embellishment, and it was like, how are you gonna call that? And then the next play, Crosby comes down on the left wing. He like takes a small hit, and it's a call for charging. And it's like, I get it. These two teams are aggressive and they're going for it for like this aggressive play, and that's what they're going with. But it's like, where's the consistency?
Right.
Like,
and I don't want to be that guy and make that argument, but is the NHL just kind of rigging calls towards Vegas? Like just things like that. Things like that. I'm just saying they're the new baby team in the league.
No. Get that out. The Vegas is a good team and they're up 3-0 because they're a good hockey team, not because the refs are rigging it.
All I'm saying was that for one call. That one call.
Yeah, but one call doesn't make a series.
Tell that to the 2014 Chicago Blackhawks and let me know.
All right, well, what I just said. Okay, so they're playing tonight. They're up 3-0. Do you think they can close out the sweep, or do you think LA has something in it?
I think LA has something in it. I go back to the 2014 LA Kings, and sorry, that was weird. I look forward to a good rest of this series. I don't think they're done. I'd like to think they're not done, but somebody could prove me wrong here.
I think they're done. I haven't really seen any push back from the LA Kings to give me that hope that they can. I mean, Kopitar is doing his job of leading them and going and doing that sort of thing. But when you have a guy like Drew Doughty, the last game they played, Game 3, he just lost it. He was after in that third period, he was just doing his own thing. Like I don't know. He's just
sounds about right. And I think the main thing for Drew Doughty is that he needs to channel that positive energy tonight. Maybe help his team stay composed. That even though maybe things aren't going right for him in this series, that maybe he becomes a force and he puts up one goal, couple assists, stuff like that. Don't just be a crybaby and go, oh, poor me. Me getting suspended is going to be the reason why we lose this series, because you can't score 3 goals in a series and win.
Exactly. And then one of our Facebook Live commenters, Rob, he says that the Kings will win 2-1 in a second OT tonight.
Wow, that's a hot take right there. All right, we got to leave it there, but when we come back, it's going to be time for Did That Really Happen? We'll be back here in a couple minutes on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
Chicagoland Sports Radio Sports Update.
At 2:31, I'm the Goon with your ChicagolandSportsRadio.com update, brought to you by the Illinois Media School. For more information on careers of broadcasting, go to beonair.com. Cubs and Cardinals were snowed out yesterday. Anthony Rizzo will return to the lineup tonight as Tyler Chatwood gets the start for the North Side, while Adam Wainwright gets the start for the Cardinals. First pitch comes from Wrigley at 7:05. The White Sox lost to the Oakland Athletics 8-1 last night. Jose Abreu provided the only offense in front of a crowd of 7,500 people. Miguel Gonzalez gets the start against former Cub Trevor Cahill. First pitch comes from Oakland at 9:05. The NHL playoffs rolled on last night. Toronto beat Boston 4-2. New Jersey beat Tampa Bay 5-2. San Jose beat Anaheim 8-1. And Colorado beat Nashville 4-3. Boston, Tampa Bay, and Nashville all lead their respective series 2-1. And San Jose leads their series 3-0. Tonight's games include Washington and Columbus, Winnipeg and Minnesota, and the Golden Knights look to eliminate the Los Angeles Kings tonight as they hold a 3-0 lead in their series. This update is also brought to you by IIT Men's Baseball. The next home game broadcast will be April 17th when they take on Wisconsin Whitewater at 1 and 4 p.m. For tickets, visit IllinoisTechAthletics.com. I'm the Goon, and you're listening to Chicagoland Sports Radio. It's not just sports, it's a way of life. Back here on the penalty box with the Goon and Hot Take Nikos. All right, so it's time for Did That Really Happen? So I don't know if you noticed over the weekend, the Cubs played on Saturday. That would be the baseball team here in Chicago. They were down 10-2 before scoring 9 runs in the 8th inning and ultimately winning 14-10. I got to tell you, that is probably one of the best comebacks I've ever seen.
Wait, that actually happened?
That actually happened.
Oh, I was going to say, no, that didn't happen. That really happened?
Yeah, that really happened.
Whoa, go Cubs.
Without Anthony Rizzo in the lineup for that as well. No, just a bunch of patient at-bats. After the game, though, both teams came out and said that they should have never have played the game.
That's nuts.
And it's like, come on, you have to be a little tough in today's world. I granted it's snowing, it's like 30 degrees outside, but baseball's fun that way.
It's not.
Well, maybe.
Horrible.
Well,
I don't go out. I won't want.
I was inside watching the game.
Yeah, it's 30 degrees. Well, I can't wait to go out and play some baseball. No one's saying that. They don't want.
Every other sport would be saying that. Yeah. Hockey players would be saying that.
Yeah, but it's not baseball.
Oh well. Yeah. Whatever.
All right, I got one.
All right.
Okay, so and I forgot. Never go on to your thing.
Wait, did you really?
Yeah, I just had it in my head.
Oh man.
Oh wait, I do have it. I do. Just remember it again. All right, so did this happen or not? You paid attention to baseball? Okay, well you probably already know. On the CN Tower, a giant blocks of ice fell onto the Rogers. I can't think of the name right now, but the Rogers Stadium,
the Rogers Place,
yeah, baseball arena, and broke the roof. Funny thing. So this morning, the Blue Jays Twitter was tweeting, "Oh, we don't need a delay of game because we have a roof over our heads. That'll never happen to us." And then the thing happened where the roof broke because of the ice. And then they were like, "Well, never mind. We will have a delay until our roof is fixed." And they pick a picture of the roof where it has a hole in it.
Oh,
hilarious!
Man. I saw that on Twitter. Yeah, that was pretty interesting to see. All right. Well, did that really happen? That happened.
That's nuts.
And that's where we're going to leave it. When we come back, we're going to switch gears and talk about the Nashville, Colorado series. All right. Stay tuned. Hot Take Nikos and the Goon. We'll be back here on the penalty box, ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
Time to kick off your career in radio or TV broadcasting at the Illinois Media School's downtown Chicago campus. Call us at 312-884-8000 or visit 530 South State Street to learn how you can make your dreams of being on television and radio a reality. Don't take my word for it. Check out what some industry professionals said about the Illinois Media School.
Jonathan Hood, ESPN 1000.
People often ask me, Hoodie, how can I be a sports radio guy like you? I tell them it takes drive and determination, and you need to learn how it all works. You can learn to be a sports talk show host, a producer, do play-by-play, and shoot and edit video. You'll have a chance to get internships at stations where you can tap into the knowledge of industry pros. With job placement assistance, you can start your new career in 1 year. It's a great school to get the hands-on training you need for a broadcasting career, doing what you love. They have affordable tuition and financial aid for those who qualify. So don't waste another minute. Go to beonair.com/Chicago Sports. That's beonair.com/Chicago Sports.
I am Raphael Young, and the NBA playoffs are here.
There it is. Redemption for Golden State. One of the great playoff runs of all time is complete. The Warriors are NBA champions again.
Along with talking about the NBA playoffs, I will also talk about the Cubs and the White Sox in their young season. Tune in every Monday from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. at ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. It's not just sports, it is a way of life.
Oh, you didn't know?
The Rising Feminist Wrestling Show gives fresh opinions about WWE, NXT, Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and so much more. This is made from a fan to the fans. The Rising Feminist Wrestling Show is more than just highlights. This is where you can hear the honest opinions about wrestling promos and its wrestlers. So come join me, Stephanie, aka the feminist voice of wrestling, every Thursday from 2 to 4 on Chicagoland Sports Radio. It is not just sports, it's a way of life.
Tune into Students of the Game, where Dr. Joseph Gregory and Dr. Christopher Rouse have you covered for your NBA playoff hot takes.
You cannot have any faith in the Cleveland Cavaliers.
We do. They do this every year.
No, they do this
every year. And y'all fall for it every year. Fall off this bait every year. They do this every year. Cleveland had a turmoil, and then they be right in the finals. Students of the Game, Tuesdays, 7 to 9 p.m. on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
Well, Blackhawk fans, we aren't used to this, a losing season. But that doesn't mean we have to stop talking about hockey altogether.
Chris Letang goes in for a shot blocker down by Brian Neely. 3-0. Scores!
That's right. The 2018 Stanley Cup playoffs are in full effect. Tune in to the Nightcap with Tim and Ben every Monday night from 9 to 10 p.m. for all your latest news and notes throughout the playoffs, along with your daily Chicago baseball updates, only on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
Spring has sprung as Second City Sports can recover as will give the latest on the Cubs, White Sox, and MLB. Who the Bears will take in the upcoming NFL draft.
The Chicago Bears select
The latest in the NBA and NHL playoffs. And just what the Bulls are going to do during the offseason. Plus, you'll never know who's going to stop by our studio. 674, Mr. Jenny Perkins. Come join the phone with me, Lakina McGee, and Jason Pfeiffer for Second City Sports. Thursdays noon to 2, only on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
Feel free to freak out because the Iceman is back on the bench warmers.
I feel the need for speed.
Be sure to stay tuned for all the action here on the Benchwarmers.
Tune in live every Thursday from 4 to 6 p.m. on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
We're going to have a good time.
Nothing moves the blob. Anthony Davis is going to feast all day. He's going to absolutely bully them in the paint.
I would not be stunned to see a 2020 game of esports in that series.
He didn't get a hit yesterday when
He was 0 for 1, yeah.
0 for 1. Oh, no. He's on the slump, guys. Watch out. Oh, no. I don't want to see Brock Lesnar. I want to leave Suplex City. I want to get out of here.
I'm done.
I'm done. The Bob Blob Show with Cedric Farrell and Elijah Richardson, Wednesdays from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. only on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
I've been in the radio and broadcasting business a long time, more than 3 decades, and I thought, if I spread my knowledge and shared what I know about the business with a lot of young minds, maybe I could get some of those people involved. And my dad talked to schools, and I thought I could do that too, and I could do it all in one place at Illinois Media School. I've been having a great time. I tell everybody I'm learning as much from the students as they learn from me. I am Eddie Volkman, and I am IMS.
Welcome back to the penalty box with Hot Take Nikos and the Goon.
What up, what up, what up?
Welcome back. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start talking Colorado and Nashville. So let's get it on. All right, so Nashville currently leads this series 2-1. I gotta say, even though we were talking about this a little bit before the show, you had mentioned something about Colorado being a one-line team. I'm gonna sort of agree with you there. Colorado, nothing to sleep on.
They're not. They're good. I mean, I don't know. They're okay. I will compare them to last year's Nashville Predators in a way. You know, Nashville was the 8th seed, comes in against the Blackhawks, who were a top team at the time, top of the conference actually, and they just came in and swept them. I know that Nashville's down 2-1, and it's not.
No, Nashville's up 2-1.
Nashville's up 2-1. I know it's not the same circumstances, but just purely the fact that Colorado's scoring a lot of the goals against a team like the Nashville Predators kind of shows Nashville's vulnerability.
And you mentioned that Pekka Rinne, who's 2-1, his goals against average is 4.17, save percentage of 86.
Right, and I'm looking at. I mean, I wouldn't. You know, I did say earlier that the Avalanche are a one-line team, but I feel like they have a consistent offensive threat in a way, like where obviously McKinnon, Landeskog, Ronson are the ones who are doing the heavy lifting there on offense. But I also feel like they have the depth there that's consistently in the other team's zone, kind of doing their possession play and moving around, moving the puck in, always they're looking threatening. You know, so I mean, it's not like the whole team's just a dud after McKinnon, but you know, I'll give them credit where credit's due. They don't have their starting goaltender Varlamov, and they don't have one of their top defensemen, Johnson, out there. So purely the fact that they're not getting outscored out the building is one, crazy, and then two, that they've won a game is pretty good too.
I don't mean to open up all the wounds, but how do you think Matt Duchene feels right now?
No.
Okay.
No for 500.
You know, and you mentioned that line of McKinnon, Landeskog, Rantanen. Nathan McKinnon has 3 goals, 2 assists. Landeskog has 2 goals and 3 assists, and Rantanen has 3 assists. I mean, so yeah, that's a lot of heavy lifting per se. It's nice to see a team like Colorado who, hey, I've said from the beginning, do not sleep on Colorado. Just because they're playing the top seed in the conference in Nashville, doesn't mean that they are what you would call untouchable.
Right.
As Pekka Rinne is proving right now.
Yeah, no, a lot of people going into the playoffs were like, all right, this is a throwaway series, you know, great way to go, Colorado, for making the playoffs, and you're done. Like, that's it. Thanks for coming. I'm glad you're here. But no, I'm really, what I'm witnessing here is a lot of people are starting to pick up on the series because they're realizing, oh, hey, there's goal scoring being happening. And, you know, there's a lot more depth to this series than just McKinnon and the Landeskog show. And I mean, you're seeing, you know, the likes of on Nashville's side. Now you're seeing, you know, Colton Sissons play well. You're seeing Watson play well. I really feel, you know, this whole series is showing a lot of depth players for Nashville stepping up to, and for Colorado that it's, you know, they're not just a one-trick pony with their offensive threats.
Well, right, and then, you know, you just mentioned Johansson has 2 goals, 2 assists. Watson has 3 goals and an assist. Colton Sissons has 2 goals and 2 assists. I mean, so, you know, they're getting scoring from you know, guys that they need to.
Right. Did you see that nasty Johansson goal?
Yes.
Man, that guy
my goodness.
That guy I had to take a shower after that. That was just so dirty. Man, he would score so many more goals. He has the hands of an angelic human. I don't know what the
angelic human. I like that.
Angelic man. He's just so he has a hard shot too, which I don't understand. He would score. He just decides he just wants to pass, and he's a pass. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with pass first player, but man, he would score so many more goals if he would just to take the shot. But
absolutely.
Nasty goal. Nasty. Forsberg has been a force to reckon with too in this series. I was watching the game last night. Man, that guy, he may not be scoring bushels and bushels of goals, but man, he's just ripping shots. He's hitting people. They have this play where Forsberg will come from the right wing side and he'll switch with the center in the middle and drop it off to him, and then he'll wait and he'll wind up for his one-timer. And man, when they get that play going, it's just so fun to watch and shoot the puck. Like, I know everyone kind of shoots the puck, maybe the same, but man, this guy, when it goes off his stick, it just like explodes off of it.
Explodes off of his stick. I like it. That's great analysis. No, I'm just kidding. No, I've always I've always liked Philip Forsberg. I watched him basically destroy my hockey team last year in the playoffs. Had a hat trick in one of the games. And, there's another guy who you can always count on for Nashville to put up points. Let me ask you this, though. If Rinne keeps up that subpar play, do you think Nashville loses the series?
I think Nashville is one of those teams where it's good enough to mask the bad goaltending, but I also feel like they're going against a team that can score those special goals or those critical goals that makes the goaltending look really bad. So I feel like they're in the situations where, they're up 2-1 in the series, but are they up 2-1 in the series?
That's a good, that's a good question.
Like, I'm watching the games. Both teams are in it, but I feel like Colorado's really taking it to the Predators in some ways where it's just domination. And Pekka Rinne last game didn't have it in him at all. But if just think of it this way, the opposite spectrum. What if Pekka Rinne finds his game and that's lights out for Colorado? Like there's always that aspect too.
And I guess let me ask you this: if Pekka Rinne continues to struggle, do you think Peter Laviolette turns to UC Saros?
He did last year for a little bit in the playoffs. And this season he had a .925 save percentage in the regular season. He's really good, and I don't see any reason why you would be nervous if you're a Nashville fan if he did go into that. I mean, he's a great backup and he's a great goalie. He's going to be their starter coming soon in these next couple of years for Nashville, I would think. But yeah, I don't think he will go because it's Pekka Rinne. He's going to win the Vezina Trophy. I think you give him the benefit of the doubt that, hey, come back in this game. You know what needs to happen here. We have Stanley Cup aspirations. You need to come in and win this.
Definitely. And then real quick before we get into the Winnipeg Minnesota series, do you think the Avs send this back 2-2 to Nashville?
I think home ice advantage means a lot to every team in the NHL, and I feel that last night really showed that once you leave your home barn, not everything's out in the open. That last change that the home teams have, it's critical.
Oh, absolutely.
And for every home team last night, that came huge for matchups, and I really do feel that I always say once you lose at home, your series is over. Like if that's it, you're done. And I really do feel like once I think they're gonna win. That's what I'm saying. I think that they're gonna win tomorrow. I think the series is gonna go 6 or 7, and people had it ending in 4.
Yeah, I was one of those people that had it actually. I had Colorado in 7. I believe.
You did?
Yeah.
I mean, I still have them in my bracket at actually I was one of those people that said in 5. So I thought they would win 1 at home and that was it. But it could still happen. You never know. Pekka Rinne could come back and just stone all of them and just be like, all right, thanks for coming. I'm glad you guys are here.
Well,
it's fun.
Getting into Winnipeg versus Minnesota, Winnipeg leads 2-1. It's kind of been, one of those like games 1 and 2 with the home ice advantage. Winnipeg looked unstoppable.
Right.
Granted, Minnesota historically in the playoffs has won game 3. So I think it's still up in the air on whether Minnesota sends this back 2-2 or not.
Well, historically versus the Hawks. They've won game 3.
I was going to say.
I don't think they're basing it off of their actual whole playoff.
No. I mean, they
yes.
No, they beat Colorado in 2014. Colorado in 2014 was game 3 win. 2015, they got swept. 2013 was a win. I don't think they made the playoffs in 2012.
In case you didn't know, he was a Hawks
fan. hey, easy.
In case you hear him bring up random Hawks analogies, he's a Hawks fan. All right. But yeah, no. I don't know that game. The Minnesota Wild last night when they won, they won 6-3, right?
Yeah.
They had 6 different goal scorers, and I really think, I was watching these couple games, and this whole season, or last couple of seasons, Zach Parise, who has been injured with his back problems, he had some shoulder issues, and he hasn't been that impact player that he was with New Jersey. these last 3 games, he's been one of their best players. And last night, like he may not show up on the scoreboard all the time, but he's just really showing like what kind of player he is, you know?
He's got 3 goals in the series. I mean, you can't beat with that.
Yeah, not every game, but you know what I'm saying? Like if you have to watch out for Eric Stahl, Mikael Granlund, who's also one of the best playmakers in the game, watch that guy's highlight reels. Awesome.
Absolutely.
If they have those 3 guys going, I mean, that's on 3 different lines. That's a Pittsburgh-esque type kind of issue going on there. And like I said, home ice is huge. I think Minnesota's going to win this next game again. And you raise your eyes to that, but Winnipeg has only been to playoffs twice in the sense moving to Winnipeg.
Yeah, they got swept by Anaheim in the one series.
Okay, so I mean, they're a new team in the playoffs too, and I mean the majority of their players were all drafted or they were signed by the Winnipeg Jets. So not all of them have playoff experience. So this is their first go around as legit contenders going into their first year in the playoffs. Realistically,
it's true.
Meanwhile, Minnesota has been there before. Granted, they've lost, but they've been there a lot more times than Winnipeg has.
And you just mentioned a lot of these guys don't have playoff experience. Connor Hellebuyck.
Exactly. Their starting goaltender is practically second year player.
Right. And then you have Devin Dubnyk, who's a little bit more seasoned, who always seems to, I don't know, kind of choke in the playoffs, per se.
I don't think he chokes. I think the team in front of him crumbles. And the crazy thing about that too is that the Minnesota Wild are playing without their best defenseman Ryan Suter throughout the whole time. I mean, that's the guy plays 30 minutes a game. That's huge in your game plan. When you have that guy, you get used to how a player plays. And I mean, it's pretty crazy the fact that they're not being scored on a lot because Dubnyk is keeping them in there. But think of it, if Minnesota gets some scoring going for their team,
yeah,
you have great goaltending. Their defense is moving the puck up. Your offense is scoring. That's a recipe for winning.
And I forgot to look. Did Jacob Trouba come back for the playoffs?
I do believe so, yes.
Okay. All right, because I remembered I was watching the game a couple nights ago, and then I'm like, I had to think about that. Did I see Jacob Trouba? And then, okay. So, yeah, if he did, then okay. Some other things to think about with this series. Obviously, the big guns of Winnipeg are coming out to play. Laine's got 2 goals and 2 assists. Tyler Myers has 2 goals and assists. And Buffalo has also has three assists. I mean, so you say they're going to win game. You say that I
think Minnesota's
going to win. You think they're going to win the series?
I think they're going to win the series. I don't think they're going to win. I think they're going to win this in Game 7. Is that really a hot take, though? I really don't. I really don't think so.
I think you're. I don't know, but
I think hockey fans get stuck on the fact of points and how much.
Well, I'm not saying
regular season, but look at the experience that Minnesota has. The experience versus Winnipeg. Yeah, Winnipeg has good guns, but I think experience wins over in this aspect.
Well, I'll tell you what. If Winnipeg plays every game like they did in games 1 and 2, the series is over. I'm allowing Connor Hellebuyck to have one bad game. I'm allowing the Winnipeg Jets to have one bad game. If they come out like that in Game 4, Minnesota wins the series.
Well, our buddy Rob says the Jets are going to win 4-3 tonight.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, go ahead and leave it there. When we come back, we're going to be switching gears to the Eastern Conference, and we'll talk about the Battle of Philadelphia, Pittsburgh Penguins and Philadelphia Flyers. Listening to the Penalty Box with Hot Take Nikos and the Goon here on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
Hey, it's Chris Reese, and I am so glad to be back at IMS. I graduated back in 2007, started my career at US 99.5, started working with Lisa and Ray. I was the producer there for about 7-8 years, and I am so glad to be back in the building teaching some new students here, getting them back doing Adobe, getting over that fear of talking on the radio. And it's Chris Reese, night guy on 101.9 The Mix, and I am IMS.
I think we're all ready to play some baseball.
That's right, Chicago. The Cubs and Sox are back home again. The weather may be chilly, but baseball season has really begun to heat up here in the city.
Santa Maria!
That is why you should tune into Deep in the Dugout for all of your baseball discussion every Monday from 2 to 4 p.m. on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com, where it's not just sports, it's a way of life. Here in the cheap seats, we got more than just sports talk. We are bringing you entertainment news and discussion as well.
Yeah. There you go, Ryan. We've been waiting for your vocals.
Oh, I don't think anybody's ever been waiting for that.
Yes, we have.
Oh, boy. Brian Christopherson and Kenya Collins will be saving you a seat here in the cheap seats every Wednesday from 2 to 4 p.m. here on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com, where it's not just sports, it's a way of life.
Spring has sprung as Second City Sports can recover. Also give the latest on the Cubs, White Sox, and MLB. Who the Bears will take in the upcoming NFL draft.
The Chicago Bears select
the latest in the NBA and NHL playoffs. And just what the Bulls are going to do during the offseason. Plus, you'll never know who's going to stop by our studio. 674, Mr. Jenny Perkins. Come join the phone with me, Lakina McGee, and Jason Pfeiffer for Second City Sports. Thursdays noon to 2, only on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
So you want to be in broadcasting, but you don't know where to start? Illinois Media School is a great beginning. If you want to work in front of the camera or mic or behind the scenes, IMS will help you prepare for a career in broadcasting in just 8 months. And financial aid is available for those who qualify. So what are you waiting for? Call the Illinois Media School at 312-884-8000, 312-884-8000, or visit the website at beonair.com.
I'm here with Rick, and let me tell you why Stipe Miocic will stay the champ after July 7th. He's going to break DC down mentally before knocking her out again. Lights out, big baby.
Hell no. DC's going to connect that oversized chin, and his punches are going to make him feel like he's kissing the freight train.
Stay tuned to hear more of this conversation leading up to UFC 226 when Miocic fights Cormier in the main event.
This is Ray Flores, ring announcer and commentator for Premier Boxing Champions. When I'm in Chicago on Wednesdays from 4 to 6, I'm listening to the Her and Him Show with Amber and Joe on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. Check out Amber's Hot Wire, Joe's Binge On, and also Vitamin A with your fit model, Amber J. Gentlemen, summer season's around the corner. Get fit with your girl, Amber J. The Her and Him Show, Wednesdays 4 to 6 on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. Joe has the news. Amber has the fitness. Check it out Wednesdays 4 to 6.
Nothing moves the blob. Anthony Davis is going to feast all day. He's going to absolutely bully them in the paint.
I would not be stunned to see a 2020 game at least once in that series.
He didn't get a hit yesterday when
He was 0 for 1, yeah.
0 for 1. Oh, no. He's on the slump, guys. Watch out. Oh, no. I don't want to see Brock Lesnar. I want to leave Suplex City. I want to get out of here.
I'm done.
I'm done.
The Bob Blob Show with Cedric Farrell and Elijah Richardson, Wednesdays from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. only on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
As the winter sports playoff picture begins, the Chicago Bulls will miss the playoffs, as well as the Blackhawks for the first time in nearly a decade. Tune into the K-Trey Show every Monday night from 7 to 9, only on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com, as we break down the playoffs for the NHL and NBA, as well as talk baseball. And don't forget, wrestling. Tune into the K-Trey Show every Monday night from 7 to 9, only on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com, as we break down the hottest stories in Chicago. That's 7 to 9 p.m. Monday nights, only on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
How's it going? My name is Edgar Ibarra, and I'm very grateful for all the knowledge I received at the Illinois Media School. My 15-year career in radio has been a dream come true. I'm a radio DJ, I'm on the air, and I get to be a program director for 2 radio stations in Wisconsin. My dream became a reality with the Illinois Media School. Illinois Media School is a great school with great teachers and former students now working in the industry today on the radio stations you listen to and on the TV stations you watch every day. Illinois Media School, check it out. For more details, beonair.com.
I couldn't have said it better myself. This is Jonathan Hood, instructor at the Illinois Media School, formerly Illinois Center for Broadcasting. So many reasons for you to consider Illinois Media School: financial aid for those who qualify, real-world hands-on experience, internships, and so much more. Don't just take my word for it. Set up a tour at one of the 2 Chicagoland locations. Go to beonair.com/Chicago Sports to learn more. That's beonair.com/Chicago Sports.
You're listening to ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. It's not just sports, it's a way of life.
Chicagoland Sports Radio Sports Update.
At 3 o'clock, I'm the Goon with your ChicagolandSportsRadio.com update brought to you by the Illinois Media School. For more information on careers in broadcasting, go to beonair.com. The White Sox lost to the Oakland Athletics 8-1 last night. Jose Abreu, I don't know why I can't talk today, provided the only offense in front of a crowd of 7,500 people. Miguel Gonzalez gets the start against former Cub Trevor Cahill. First pitch comes from Oakland at 9:05. Cubs and Cardinals were snowed out yesterday. Anthony Rizzo returns to the lineup tonight as Tyler Chatwood gets the start for the Northsiders, while Adam Wainwright will start for the Cardinals. First pitch comes from Wrigley at 7:05. NHL playoffs rolled on last night. Toronto beat Boston 4-2. New Jersey beat Tampa Bay 5-2. San Jose beat Anaheim 8-1. And Colorado beat Nashville 5-3. Boston, Tampa Bay, and Nashville all lead their respective series 2-1, while San Jose leads their series 3-0. Tonight's games include Washington and Columbus. The Golden Knights looking to eliminate the Los Angeles Kings tonight as they hold a 3-0 series lead. And Winnipeg and Minnesota. This update is also brought to you by IIT Men's Baseball. The next home game broadcast will be April 17th when they take on Wisconsin Whitewater at 1 and 4 p.m. For tickets, visit IllinoisTechAthletics.com. I'm the Goon, and you're listening to Chicagoland Sports Radio. It's not just sports, it's a way of life. That's right. We're back here on Penalty Box. Hot Take Nikos and the Goon. We're going to go ahead. Apparently, we have a caller here on the line. So, caller, are you there?
Mr. Ryan are here. What's going on, Mr. Ryan?
Oh, not much. How are you, boys?
Doing pretty good. Can't complain.
Playoffs, baby. Can you hear us good? Can you hear us well?
Yeah, there's a little bit of feedback, but it's not too bad.
All right.
I just want to say, first off, James, I don't know what you're thinking about saying Kane's better than McDavid, buddy. I don't know if you guys got Kool-Aid passing around.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
Really? That's where we're going to go right now? That's where you want to go?
Take it to him. Take it to him.
I just want to say I'm a big London Knights fan. I've been a fan for over 20 years here, and I will say Patrick Kane's the best player I've ever seen play for the Knights, and there's been a lot of good ones come through here, Tavares and Perry and Nash and whoever. But and maybe in the OHL in the last 20 years, he was absolutely unbelievable. But as far as comparing to McDavid, sorry, buddy, there's no comparison.
There's no way.
All right. You know what? Thank you for saying that. All right. At least you're not trying to sound like a total homer in this case. But when it comes to McDavid, I mean, he's only been in the league for a couple of years. So I think once he gets more NHL experience, then I'm ready to go ahead and consider him to be the second best player in the NHL.
All right. Well, here, the public will speak for us. There's 22 votes right now, and there's only one person who voted for Patrick Kane. I'll let you guess who that one is. Everybody else, 21 votes that voted for Connor McDavid. I'm just saying, there's no way in heck that you're going to tell me Patrick Kane is the second best player in NHL.
Career-wise, I think Kane's obviously put up better numbers, but if you just say as of today, this year, who's the better player this year, not based on
that's what I mean.
Career, I think it's easy. But
well, he didn't say that.
Oh, come on, that's what I mean.
You were trying to make it seem like all time. That's why I was like, okay, if you're making that argument for this year, then okay, Connor McDavid, I will concede that 100%.
So you're saying all time Patrick Kane second best?
Well, we're comparing. Dude, stop. We're comparing. Never mind. I'm not even going there. Whatever.
All right. Well, speaking of Penguins players, let's get into the Pens Flyer series. Oh man, what a series this is! I don't even know where to even start with this. Is goaltending? Is Philly good? Is Philly bad? Is Brian Elliott good? Is Brian Elliott bad? It's a weird one. I mean, I don't even. I can't. It's like Jekyll and Hyde. Seriously, do you think Philly's gonna win this next one?
No,
they're gonna win like 5-0.
No.
What do you see going on with the series?
Did you guys see there was a tweet that just came out that Sean Couturier got hurt? Dudas backed into him, and Giroux said it doesn't look good at all, so that their number one center might be out.
Ouch. Yeah, that's the only good. I mean, I should not saying Giroux's bad defensively, but realistically, in our playoff pre-predictions for the series, I was saying, it's going to be hard for Philadelphia to match all these offensive threats because Couturier is their Selke vote person, and I really think that if if Couturier is out for any amount of time, that's huge. I mean, they're already not good defensively, so you lose your best defensive player, that's a huge hole.
And not to mention,
kind of like
sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
All right. Well, I was just going to say they're kind of a high risk, high reward team to begin with. Couturier was kind of their solid two-way guy. You kind of wish you'd get more 3 games into the series. There's a lot of talk as Giroux being MVP in the regular season. You kind of wish you'd get more from him. And now maybe with Couturier out, you just put Giroux back in the middle. If Couturier is out officially, maybe you put Giroux back in the middle and let him be MVP again and see what he can do. But yeah, that's a huge blow for that team if that is the case.
Yeah, I mean, this whole season they moved Giroux to the left wing side to play with Giroux, Couturier, and Voracek, and obviously towards the latter part of the season, they moved for Giroux off the line and was just kind of mixing up scoring, which obviously worked out. This series, Giroux has 0 goals, 1 assist, and has a -4. He only has 7 shots on goal, and I mean, it's like I said, they're a weird team. Like, I noticed Giroux out there, but he's not doing the things that I feel you want. He's turning over the puck a lot. He comes to the zone. As soon as he comes into the zone, they're poking right off him. They know his moves, what he's going to do. And the players around him, I think he's trying too hard. I think he's trying too hard to be the player that, I feel like a lot of players are expecting him to be. And I don't know if he's risen up to expectations in the playoffs right now. I feel like this team isn't built for a long playoff run. And I feel like there's different expectations for different players, which I don't think should be the case for this series.
Well, right. And let me ask you this, the two of you this. How big of a loss is Patrick Hornqvist for Game 4 for Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
No. I'm not sure. I mean, Pittsburgh's got so much balance on all 3 lines. Obviously there's somebody else is going to have to kind of step up, but I think it's definitely a bigger loss if Couturier goes. And the thing with Philly is, like you guys mentioned, they're so up and down. Like Game 1, especially Elliott too. Like Game 1, he was awful. Game 2, he was fantastic, and then Game 3, he was pretty lousy. But the team in general, just like I said, they're always a high risk, high reward team. So you're going to have games where they just turn the puck over like crazy, and you hope the goalie can bail them out. But then other times they look like world beaters. They look like they could beat any team at any given night. They're so inconsistent. It's hard to tell what you're going to get from them, one night to the next kind of thing. But I don't know. That's kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah, I think with the Hornqvist brings a lot of grit to the table. I always feel like during this whole series, I mean, any real game that brings up the aggressive edge, Hornqvist is the guy who's always right in the thick of it, and he's pushing players over in the crease. He's trying to fight for his teammates. He's shooting the puck on net and then running right after it. Like, he just goes straight to the net. He's pushing it. I always compare him to kind of like a Tomas Holmstrom kind of player. Like a modern day kind of player, and he's just so aggressive. And I think if you lose that kind of player, I think it's big for the playoffs. Maybe not scoring wise, but I feel like you kind of lose a little bit of that character in your team. I don't think Pittsburgh has that guy who's going to be going in front of the net on the power play, going to be pushing all those players around. It's not to say that really negates a lot of their offense, because obviously they have Crosby, Malkin, and Kessel, but just the pure fact that if you subtract that what he brings to the table, I think it doesn't leave as big as a hole as Couturier does, but I do think you do lose that aspect of the game where you're not going to have that guy who's going to go out and slam some guys into the floor that you would have with Hornqvist in the lineup.
Even though, let's be honest, this series has definitely been the Sidney Crosby show. If there were any sort of questions about would he come to play in the playoffs this season, I think those have been answered.
That's nuts. He has 7 points in this. He has that. You guys saw that crazy backhand goal he did. Yeah, I mean the guy's unreal. I mean, he just turned something. He's just that guy who just turns it on in the playoffs. Whether or not, like, I remember 2 years ago when Kessel was scoring all these points, it was just Crosby blocking shots with a stick, like kicking pucks up, making all these defensive plays. And then last year in the playoffs, he shows up again. And now in this, I feel like whenever Crosby gets the chance to go against Philadelphia, he always feels like he has to slay a dragon. Like, he's just going into this series angry. He just doesn't talk to the media. Like, you see his his press conferences, and he's just like, "Yep, we go out there, we beat them. Okay, see you later." Like he's just in and out of there. He's mad to be there. Like he generally hates the Philadelphia Flyers. I don't blame him.
Well, I mean, when you start Crosby sucks chants, every game that you play against him, I mean, which I feel like is every team that he has to play against, and that is the Battle of Philadelphia. It might give you a little bit more energy to play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. And I think there's kind of a healthy rivalry between him and Giroux. I don't think they like each other too much. And again, with the whole talk of Giroux being potential MVP, I think Crosby's kind of taken that personal. And you know what, I'm going to show you who the real MVP is, kind of thing. And so far, we've kind of seen that after 3 games.
Yeah, I mean, he's really showing up Giroux here. And I mean, Giroux's one of those guys where he just gets so emotional and caught up in the game where he'll just lose. Like last season, for instance, there was a lot on him because the team was doing so bad. He was doing bad, and he just felt like the entire season was on him. He only had like 52 points. His point totals were going down, and people were saying, hey, you're not worth what the $7-8 million contract you are. He comes into this season like there's nothing. They got the second overall draft pick, and he was just kind of like, all right, well, I'm here to play. I'll do my game and see where it goes. He had no restrictions on his play, and then comes into the playoffs. It's like, hey, you're in Philadelphia. I feel like Philadelphia reminded him, hey, you're in Philly. You need to start doing something for our team. The Eagles won. You need to win. And I feel like he just has all that pressure on him. And it's really showing in the series where he's making these dumb plays. He's trying too much. And I don't know. I just don't see it. And then obviously we talk about Sidney Crosby too. Crosby's just going out there and just kind of like skates in there, scores a goal, and that's it.
I got to interrupt you for a second. The Score just put out an article that Wild forward Zach Parise is week to week after fracturing his sternum in Game 3 versus the Jets.
Not again. Man, that guy can't catch a break. I feel for that guy. Go ahead.
I see Tyler Myers is out for Game 4 too, I think.
Yeah, I feel like everybody's dropping like flies. Like last night, trying to think who dropped from the Boston game. I believe it was like Schaller maybe that dropped that. There's a lot of players that are being injured in this playoffs compared to last season where it was just kind of like everyone. I shouldn't say everyone was healthy, but I feel like this season like everyone's just kind of going in there, they're trying their hardest and getting injured. I know obviously Komarov for the Maple Leafs is injured. Johnson for the Maple, that's who it was. Johnson last night got injured too. So, and obviously we have Couturier, and then we have Hornquist here, and these are some pretty big name players being injured. But yeah, I don't know. In this series right now, I mean, Pittsburgh's up 2-1. They play tonight. I'm gonna go. I think Pittsburgh's gonna pull out another win tonight.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I don't. What do you think? Yeah, I think we're all kind of like, I kind of want this. I like the series. I think it's fun, but I also kind of want the end too, just so I can get to the next round.
I think Pittsburgh's going to win 6-2.
6-2?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought Philly was a dangerous team coming in, and I thought if they got Washington in particular, they could really upset them. But as soon as they got Pittsburgh, that would just kind of tempered the expectations. And I think with Couturier getting banged up again today, that's probably a kick in the junk that they're going to be a little deflated maybe tonight. And unless Brian Elliott stands on his head, it's going to be real tough, I think, for Philly to pull it out.
Well, let me ask you this: if Philly loses to their next game, do you think Mrazek gets a start?
You can't. No, they're both so bad. Like I can't see that. I don't know why would you go. Mrazek has been seriously inconsistent in the regular season, and I mean. So would be Brian Elliott too. So I think it's like, does it really matter? You just throw someone with a jersey in net for goalie and hope for the best. But
yeah, I was really hoping that at the end of the year there, Alex Lyon was playing really well. He was kind of a young goalie. And, if Elliott wasn't ready, there was a lot of talk he was going to go in over Mrazek to begin with. But, if you go to Mrazek over Elliott, I don't think there's an upgrade there at all. You're probably just waving the white flag at that point.
Right. I mean,
definitely.
If you're a Philly fan listening, I mean, you still have Carter Hart coming. Hopefully he's the answer. So you got that going for you. All right. So before we go into the commercial break, just want to thank you again, Mr. Sean, for coming on. No problem. So Connor McDavid is obviously the best, second best player in the NHL.
We've established that.
At least we have that going. We know where that's going. He's shaking his head right now.
You are the final caller ever on the penalty box. Thank you. I'm just kidding.
All right, Mr. Ryan, thanks for showing up with us today. Maybe next week we'll get a whole Oilers section in for you.
Well, I'm willing to talk hockey any team, anytime, boys. You guys, thanks for having me. You guys have a great day.
Hey, thanks, you too. All right. Well, that was a great conversation about the playoffs. That's where we're going to leave it. I'm just not going to talk about anything else. When we come back, we're going to switch gears and talk Tampa Bay, New Jersey, here on the penalty box with with the Goon and Hot Take Nikos. You're listening to the penalty box, ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
I got started at IMS here as an instructor a couple years back after I heard a couple of people I worked with were also instructors here. I'm always here if you need help with developing what you're passionate about. And that's what most people come here for. They have a passion. They want to do something. They want to do radio play-by-play. They want to do sports talk. They want to do updates, whatever it may be. My name is Freddie Hubner. I work at ESPN 1000 as a host and sports anchor, and I am IMS.
Next time on the penalty box, the NHL playoffs are finally in full swing, and we're just getting started.
What's up, bro?
Tune in for the best reaction to the games, as well as in-depth analysis in both conferences. We're just two guys putting the Goon back into hockey.
Oh, no, that was so by accident. Buddy, you sucked at hockey.
Take a seat in the penalty box with Hot Take Nikos and the Goon, Tuesdays from 2 to 4 on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
I'm here with Rick, and let me tell you why Stipe Miocic will stay the champ after July 7th. He's going to break DC down mentally before knocking her out again. Lights out, big baby.
Hell no. DC's going to connect that oversized chin, and his punches are going to make him feel like he's kissing the freight train.
Stay tuned to hear more of this conversation leading up to UFC 226 when Miocic fights Cormier in the main event.
This is Ray Flores, ring announcer and commentator for Premier Boxing Champions. When I'm in Chicago on Wednesdays from 4 to 6, I'm listening to the Her and Him Show with Amber and Joe on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. Check out Amber's Hot Wire, Joe's Binge On, and also Vitamin A with your fit model, Amber J. Gentlemen, summer season's around the corner. Get fit with your girl, Amber J. The Her and Him Show, Wednesdays 4 to 6 on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. Joe has the news. Amber has the fitness. Check it out Wednesdays 4 to 6.
This Friday on Inside the Locker Room, it's a playoff special.
40 games and 40 nights.
Win or go home.
Chris and I will predict and discuss first-round matchups of the NBA playoffs.
Warriors Spurs,
Raptors Wizards,
Heat Sixers,
Pelicans Blazers,
Bucks Celtics,
Jazz Thunder,
Pacers Cavs,
and the Wolves and the Rockets.
Also, Marcus and I will discuss Cubs and White Sox.
So tune in
this Friday, 12 noon
on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
I think we're all ready to play some baseball.
That's right, Chicago. The Cubs and Sox are back home again. The weather may be chilly, but baseball season has really begun to heat up here in the city.
Santa Maria!
That is why you should tune into Deep in the Dugout for all of your baseball discussion every Monday from 2 to 4 p.m. on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com, where it's not just sports, it's a way of life.
As the winter sports playoff picture begins, the Chicago Bulls will miss the playoffs, as well as the Blackhawks for the first time in nearly a decade. Tune into the K-Trey Show every Monday night from 7 to 9, only on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com, as we break down the playoffs for the NHL and NBA, as well as talk baseball. And don't forget, wrestling. Tune into the K-Trey Show every Monday night from 7 to 9, only on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com, as we break down the hottest stories in Chicago. That's 7 to 9 p.m. Monday nights, only on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
Fasten your seatbelts, folks, as we fast break towards the NBA playoffs with Pete Charles, Parger-Ritchie, Sid the Kid, and Corey Barber.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs?
Also, we recap the Bull season and forecast their off season, plus Cubs and Sox baseball coverage. Remember the huddle up on the Bears as they prepare for the NFL draft.
Would be FIRST first.
So tune in to On Deck every Saturday from 2 to 4 p.m. on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
Time to kick off your career in radio or TV broadcasting at the Illinois Media School's downtown Chicago campus. Call us at 312-884-8000 or visit 530 South State Street to learn how you can make your dreams of being on television and radio a reality. Don't take my word for it. Check out what some industry professionals said about the Illinois Media School.
Tom Waddle, ESPN 1000.
Don't waste another minute in a career you don't love. You can be the next great announcer, DJ, producer, or TV reporter. You'll learn key skills from industry pros while working with professional equipment on air and behind the scenes. Still need to keep the 9-to-5 job? Their flexible class schedules can work around any schedule. Short on cash? They have very affordable tuition and financial aid for those who qualify. You'll have access to amazing internships and job placement assistance when you graduate at top radio and TV stations like ESPN. Learn more at beonair.com/Chicago Sports. That's beonair.com/Chicago Sports.
Back here on the penalty box with the Goon and Hot Take Nikos.
We're still arguing.
We're not going to argue about this anymore. All right, I'm going to let the polls speak for itself. All right, so you can stop right there. All right, so we're going to go ahead and talk a little Toronto and Boston.
Yes, Rob, we're talking about Boston here for you. Boston sucks. No, they
Wow, I was going to say survey says no.
Right. No, I mean, this series has been a tale of, wow, Toronto doesn't know how to defend, and wow, Boston knows how to score. And then game 3 happened.
Yeah, you go to that home ice advantage, and
right.
I mean, in the first 2 games, Boston puts up 12 goals. I mean, that's pretty tough. I was worried a little bit about you after game 2, after losing 7-3.
I was losing my absolute mind. Like I was on Twitter. I was tweeting out everything. I was just so angry. I didn't know. After they scored the 6th goal, whenever Pasternak walked in front of the net and just shot at top shelf, it looked like nobody was trying. I was just done. I turned out. I literally, I had my lights off. The game was on only. I turned off the game. I sat in the dark for like 10 minutes, and I was just so mad. I was just like, oh, it just had to be Boston.
I mean, here's the thing. I've done the same thing. Where you have to just sort of look up at the sky after a big loss and just scream.
I was so mad because I don't know what happened with the Leafs. Like they could their main how they got to this point in the regular season was speed, and during these games they've had turtle. It's just been
so they went. Maybe they went from rabbit to turtle. Maybe you just need to
slowly get the rabbit in the hair.
Rev it up.
The hair and the turtle. I don't know, man. It was just really bad. I mean, you have Zaitsev and you have Hainsey both. I don't know what Hainsey's thinking half the time. Like they just don't talk either. They're like I remember there was a goal on the power play where Plekanec and Hainsey ran into each other, and it easily could have been avoided if they would have just looked at each other and been like, "Hey, I'm gonna go this way. You're gonna go this way. Okay, no problem. Go ahead." And they ran smacked into each other, and there was a goal. And then they zoom in on Hainsey's face, and he's like, I wonder how we could have avoided that.
Was it worse than Connor McDavid looking at Milan
Lucic?
Oh,
no, that was worse. That was just the look of and done. And I'm here. Yeah, no, that was just bad. But that's not to discredit, obviously, the Boston Bruins. I mean, through those 2 home games, Pasternak had 8 points, which was the highest point total since Wayne Gretzky in 1987.
Yeah,
which is absolutely insanity. That whole line of Bergeron, Pasternak, and Marchand have been unstoppable up to that game 3 point. And I mean, it was kind of scary. I was sitting there after game 2. I was trying to think, usually after games I'll think, what you could do. You could do this to counteract what this line does. But I had no answers. I was like, you can't put Matthews against him because Matthews can't stop Bergeron. You can't put the Plekanec line because they're not doing anything. Komarov's out. Kadri's not in here. We have Marleau. I don't know what's going on. I was just freaking out. I was like, I don't know what we could do. And it was just I had no answers. And that's the scary part. When you're a fan of a team and your team is getting thoroughly dominated and you have no answers, that's the scariest thing.
Well, and we talked about that a little bit during last week about the Kadri suspension. And I had to laugh because you're actually a fan of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Yet I'm homering more than you are, and I'm not even a fan of your hockey team.
I tweeted out something where I was like, you can't have that in the game. But when I looked into it a little bit more, I watched the play and there was different angles of it. It looks like Wingles moved his head down, so he looked like Kadri jumped over to avoid his head because he witnessed it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think obviously that was the play that happened, and Wingles kind of like sat and took it. And I think when the suspension call came in, he was kind of like, well, I have prior history, and I can't really fight this. It'll take me longer to fight this than to actually, just take the suspension. So I think he just kind of took it and was like, that was it. Don't say anything else, and that was it. I don't think it was, after rewatching the hit, I don't think it was a suspension worthy. But I do think that if the play actually happened to where the majority of people saw it, where he actually hit him in the head, obviously that shouldn't be in hockey. And
right.
That's why I think that it wasn't. It was suspension worthy, yes, but upon further investigation and watching it, I don't think it should have been.
And that's what I was trying to say. When I was looking at it from the different angles, it looked like Wingles was in a vulnerable spot.
Yeah, I mean,
he went to go for a big hit, missed, and then sort of like fell down, was going after the puck, and then in comes Kadri, and I agreed with you that maybe those plays can't be in hockey, but 3 games is like 15 during the regular season.
Right. Well, I mean, Kadri, Wingles earlier in the game, like elbowed Marner in the head, and Kadri went after Wingles a little bit before that, and then this hit happened. So everyone, there's just assumption after plays, and I don't know, but that was a dumb play. Either way, Kadri put his team down significantly going into game 2, 3, and 4. I mean, we won without him, but I mean, at the same time, that's a tough loss to take, But I can't discredit Boston for what they've done. Like offensively, defensively, they've thoroughly manhandled the Leafs. But in game 3, it was a weird game. Like it was like the game where you're winning, but you're not winning, but you're kind of winning, but you're like, all right, let's just kind of see what happens. Like when I was watching it, Marchand, he's so annoying.
I agree.
I don't hate the Bruins, but I hate Marchand. I just hate that guy. He's just so good, but he's just so weird. There was a play where he licked Komarov. Did you see that?
I saw that, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
It's so nice.
And then that Parks and Rec scene came into my head, which I can't say it on the air, but I'll tell you during our break.
Right. Yeah.
All right, but yeah, can we switch gears for a second and talk about Freddie Anderson's amazing save?
I mean, that was the first time that this game was the first time Freddie actually showed he's a good goaltender in the playoffs. This is the honest to God. I think any Leafs fan, any fan watching hockey could tell you that Anderson was weak the first 2 games of the playoffs. They were just taking shots on him. It was like, all right, here's goal. You want a goal? Here's goal. Here's goal.
You get a goal.
You get a goal.
And you get a goal.
Yeah, it was just so bad. I mean, obviously the defense too, but it was just, come on, man. You played with this defense the entire season. Why are you going to let up now?
Right. What changed?
Make a save. I think being home, honest to God, I think being home in front of the Toronto crowd really changes how a player feels versus being away. But going into tomorrow's game, I think Toronto's going to tie it up. I think it's going to be a 2-2 series. I think they're going to win like same score again, like 4-2, 4-1 game.
I think it's Boston's turn to choke. And I like the Leafs actually in this series still, even after losing the first 2 games on the road. I think they win game 4. I think they come out, and I think they have a tremendous game 5. I think they steal one in Boston, and this series ends in 6.
I feel like they're going to go back to Boston, lose, and then go back to Toronto, win, and then have a game 7 where we win 5-4 in overtime, and Matthews scores 2 goals, and everything's happy, and we win the cup, and yeah.
Okay, slow down there, Chief. All right, we're not going to go that far. I'm not. I mean, I may have you guys winning the cup this year in my bracket. All right.
I didn't have the Leafs winning.
But you still got 2 more rounds to play before the Stanley Cup, if you get there. That's all I'm saying.
Go Washington?
Question mark? All right. Well, that's where we're going to have to leave it there. Stay tuned as we get into the Capitals Blue Jackets series, and then the New Jersey Devils versus Tampa Bay Lightning series. This is the Penalty Box, ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
Chicagoland Sports Radio Sports Update.
At 3:30, I'm the Goon with your ChicagolandSportsRadio.com update, brought to you by the Illinois Media School. For more information on careers in broadcasting, go to beonair.com. Cubs and Cardinals play at 7:05. Anthony Rizzo will return to the lineup. Pitching matchup is Tyler Chatwood versus Adam Wainwright. First pitch is at 7:05. White Sox lost to the A's last night 8-1. Miguel Gonzalez gets the start tonight against former Cub Trevor Cahill. First pitch comes from Oakland at 9:05. Tonight's NHL games include Washington and Columbus, Minnesota and Winnipeg. And the Golden Knights look to eliminate the Los Angeles Kings tonight as they hold a 3-0 lead in their series. And then last night, the scores: Toronto beat Boston 4-2, New Jersey beat Tampa Bay 5-2, San Jose beat Anaheim 8-1, and Colorado beat Nashville 5-3. This update is also brought to you by IIT Men's Baseball. The next home game broadcast will be April 17th when they take on Wisconsin Whitewater at 1-4. For tickets, visit IllinoisTechAthletics.com. I'm the Goon, and you're listening to Chicagoland Sports Radio. It's not just sports, it's a way of life. Welcome back to the penalty box with the Goon and Hot Take Nikos.
What up, what up?
What up, what up? All right, so before we get into this New Jersey shenanigans, I want to ask you, in the past 3 years, if you could think of your favorite playoff moment.
3 years? Maybe this wasn't 3 years, man. Maybe whenever Patrick Kane scored that overtime goal and he slid on his knees and did the heartbreaker.
Oh, so that was 2013. Okay, but I'm the homer. All right,
so
yeah.
It's because in NHL 18 I used that. I had my nickname is the Heartbreaker.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I used the Heartbreaker thing for it. So I always think whenever you score a goal, I was thinking that one because it was just so great. And then whoever came hugging was like, yeah, whatever. That's my favorite.
That was awesome. All right, I gotta say for me, it's got to be the Corey Crawford save on Steven Stamkos in Game 6 of the 2015 final. The game was getting into the late stages of the second period. I believe the game was still 0-0. And here comes Steven Stamkos on a breakaway, and all of a sudden, stick handles, and Crawford just lays there and still makes the save.
Right. No, I don't really have many playoff memories for the Leafs. But obviously I've watched NHL hockey over the years. No, one I was a big Detroit Red Wings fan. They're like my second favorite team. But I remember this play in Boston. It was before Datsuk retired. He just walked into the zone, dangled half of the Boston Bruins, scored that goal, and he puts his hands up, goes towards the bench and just walked off. He's like, all right, thanks guys.
And then if we're gonna talk regulars. Oh wait, was that in the playoffs or was that regular season?
That was playoffs. I remember it was when Boston Bruins beat them. It was in 2013 too, I think, when Boston won 4-1 in the playoffs.
Couldn't be 2013.
2014.
14, whatever 14, it was. Yeah,
that one. Where Nyquist was there.
I gotta say, and then another awesome playoff moment for me. It was the Colorado-Minnesota series back in 2014.
Oh, yeah. El Nino scored that.
Yeah. Nino Niederreiter in Game 7. Yeah. Just came. And I thought he was going to throw a cross-ice pass.
Oh, yeah, and he just dove towards the net? Yeah.
Yeah. And then just throws it on net. It goes off the post and then goes in. And you're like, and I laughed. I was actually cheering for Minnesota to win that series because Colorado had our number all season. So seeing Minnesota be able to have that sort of playoff success, unfortunately, before their playoff hopes were dug into a grave by a sweep in the next series, neither here nor there. It was a lot of fun.
Sorry, not interrupting. But my second favorite is the Alec Martinez goal versus the Hawks, so he can go to the.
You could have said 2014 Stanley Cup final versus New York, but you had to bring up. Get out of here! All right. That's where we're going to leave this here before I say some words I'm not allowed to here on the air. So stay tuned as we get into the Lightning Devils series, and also the Blue Jackets Capital series. You're listening to the Penalty Box, ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
Time to kick off your career in radio or TV broadcasting at the Illinois Media School's downtown Chicago campus. Call us at 312-884-8000 or visit 530 South State Street to learn how you can make your dreams of being on television and radio a reality. Don't take my word for it. Check out what some industry professionals said about the Illinois Media School.
Jonathan Hood, ESPN 1000.
People often ask me, Hoodie, how can I be a sports radio guy like you? I tell them it takes drive and determination, and you need to learn how it all works. You can learn to be a sports talk show host, a producer, do play-by-play, and shoot and edit video. You'll have a chance to get internships at stations where you can tap into the knowledge of industry pros. With job placement assistance, you can start your new career in 1 year. It's a great school to get the hands-on training you need for a broadcasting career, doing what you love. They have affordable tuition and financial aid for those who qualify. So don't waste another minute. Go to beonair.com/Chicago Sports. That's beonair.com/Chicago Sports.
I am Raphael Young, and the NBA playoffs are here.
There it is. Redemption for Golden State. One of the great playoff runs of all time is complete. The Warriors are NBA champions again.
Along with talking about the NBA playoffs, I will also talk about the Cubs and the White Sox in their young seasons. Tune in every Monday from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. at ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. It's not just sports, it is a way of life.
Oh, you didn't know?
The Rising Feminist Wrestling Show gives fresh opinions about WWE, NXT, Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and so much more. This is made from a fan to the fans. The Rising Feminist Wrestling Show is more than just highlights. This is where you can hear the honest opinions about wrestling, promos, and its wrestlers. So come join me, Stephanie, aka the feminist voice of wrestling, every Thursday from 2 to 4 on Chicagoland Sports Radio. It is not just sports, it's a way of life.
Tune into Students of the Game, where Dr. Joseph Gregory and Dr. Christopher Rouse have you covered for your NBA playoff hot takes.
You cannot have any faith in the Cleveland Cavaliers.
We do. They do this every year.
No. They do this every year.
And y'all fall for it every year. Y'all off this bait every year. They do this every year. Cleveland had a turmoil, and then they be right in the final. Students of the Game, Tuesdays, 7 to 9 p.m. on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
Well, Blackhawk fans, we aren't used to this, a losing season. But that doesn't mean we have to stop talking about hockey altogether.
Chris Letang goes in for a shot blocker down by Brian Three scores!
That's right. The 2018 Stanley Cup playoffs are in full effect. Tune in to the Nightcap with Tim and Ben every Monday night from 9 to 10 p.m. for all your latest news and notes throughout the playoffs, along with your daily Chicago baseball updates, only on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
Spring has sprung as Second Seed Sports will have you covered. Also keep the latest on the Cubs, White Sox, and MLB. Who the Bears will take in the upcoming NFL draft.
The Chicago Bears select
The latest in the NBA and NHL playoffs. And just what the Bulls are going to do during the offseason. Plus, you'll never know who's going to stop by our studio. 6-7 is 4. Mr. Jenny Perkins. Come join the phone with me, Lakina McGee, and Jason Pfeiffer for Second City Sports. Thursdays noon to 2. Only on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
Feel free to freak out because the Iceman is back on the Benchwarmers.
I feel the need to lead for speed.
Be sure to stay tuned for all the action here on the Benchwarmers.
Tune in live every Thursday from 4 to 6 p.m. on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
We're going to have a good time.
Nothing moves the blob. Anthony Davis is gonna feast all day. He's gonna absolutely bully them in the paint.
I would not be stunned to see a 2020 game at East Sports net series.
He didn't get a hit yesterday when
He was 0 for 1, yeah.
0 for 1. Oh no, these are the slump guys. Watch out! Oh no, I don't want to see about that. I want to leave Suplex City. I want to get out of here.
I'm done.
I'm done.
The Bob Bob Show with Cedric Farrell and Elijah Richardson, Wednesdays from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. only on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
I've been in the radio and broadcasting business a long time, more than 3 decades, and I thought, if I spread my knowledge and shared what I know about the business with a lot of young minds, maybe I could get some of those people involved. And my dad talked to schools, and I thought I could do that too, and I could do it all in one place at Illinois Media School. I've been having a great time. I tell everybody I'm learning as much from the students as they learn from me. I am Eddie Volkman, and I am IMS.
And we're back here on the penalty box as we're winding down here on the show. It's gone extremely too fast, though, if I may say there. Hot takes.
Nice and slow. That's
Yeah.
the way I like it.
Yeah?
Yes. Yes.
All right, fair enough. That definitely did not take a weird turn. So let's go ahead and let's get into this Washington versus Blue Jackets series. I got to tell you, I'm starting to hate Columbus even more.
Man, I didn't know, but John Carlson has 6 points. in this
That's
series.
crazy.
As a defenseman, he's leading the team. And Ovechkin only has 2 goals, which both goals came in the last game.
Yeah, that'll do it. I mean, it's not shocking by any means. While we're on the subject, it looks like Philip Grubauer will not start Game 3. It will be Braden Holtby. Honestly, though, I don't understand how Grubauer can get any blame for the past 2 games. They've lost 2 games in overtime.
Yeah, but it's the way that they've lost. I know I fought for him a little bit earlier, but thinking about it, they were up 2-0 and then 3-1, and then they lost in overtime. So if you can't hold a lead, if you can't make those saves, those critical saves that you need in the playoffs, then yeah, I could see why you could switch the goaltender after losing 2 critical games where you need that save in overtime. And Bobrovsky gave him that save.
Bobrovsky gave him a lot of saves.
Exactly. I mean,
where he just stood on his head.
Yeah, so I mean, you know what I'm saying when it comes to in a playoff performance, and Holtby has proven it in the playoffs. This season has been a really bad season for him, yes, but actually in the playoffs, I think that he when he came in, he didn't do too bad.
No,
so I mean,
not at all.
I don't blame him for giving up that in the overtime period. I don't blame him because the defense, it was not good on the coverage, and I mean, maybe Columbus is just as good.
I'm not ready to say that. They've gotten some key goals from, key points from Artemi Panarin.
Oh, yeah. What jersey do you have on?
Panarin.
Oh, yeah.
I'm jinxing Columbus today, folks.
Yeah, that's a sweet jersey, though.
Thank you.
I do like
so it's the Winter Classic jersey from 17.
Man, the NHL logo's upside down, though.
You're funny. You're hilarious. I got this jersey off of NHL.com, so if that's the case, then whatever.
Yeah.
And for the record, for all of our listeners, I didn't scroll down far enough, and I was half asleep when I made that tweet about San Jose being the only road team to win. So
you were drunk. You was drunk.
No, I wasn't drunk. I was half asleep. And then everybody was like, "Did you guys forget about Columbus?" And I was like, "Who?"
Yeah, I mean Columbus. That's not taking anything away from Washington, but Columbus, they'll go down in this series, but they keep coming back. I mean, they're a fun team to watch. Seth Jones, Panarin, Atkinson's showing up in the playoffs too. And I mean, these goals, they're getting key goals from these guys. They'll go down 2-1, they'll come right back right after. I mean, that's not the ideal situation, but I mean, they're getting these goals and they're winning. They're up 2-0 for the first time in franchise history, being up in a playoff game, playoff series.
But what if they St. Louis Blues themselves?
No.
You don't think that's going to happen?
This home advantage that they have, it's huge. Columbus, great venue for fans, and they really do have a great home advantage. And I feel like it's going to be again one of those series where they go home, and I think they might sweep them.
Wow, that is a hot take right there.
You win 2 games in overtime off of some fantastic play from your goaltender, off of some clutch play from your players, and you go into your home arena. That's a recipe for, all right, we can just if we just win the next 2 at home. That's it. It's done.
That is a interesting point you make there. I look to Alex Ovechkin actually to kind of step up his game and really start pouring it on. Came out with a quote today basically saying we're going back to Washington Tide. And I'm like, maybe you should figure out how to win first.
Just guarantee
in this
win.
playoffs. Yeah, it basically guaranteed that they were going to go back to Washington Tide at 2. And I don't see it personally.
I don't.
Maybe they're down 3-1. Maybe they steal the game in Columbus. But, as you just mentioned it, once you lose a game at home, you're kind of done. Unless you just decide you want to go on the road and start winning. In this playoffs, though, I don't see it happening.
Right. I was listening to Hockey Central at noon, and Doug McLean was in Washington for covering one of the series, or maybe it was Doug McLean, one of those guys. He was saying how he was going. He was having a coffee, and one of the waitresses noticed him, and she was just like, "What do we gotta do to win a game?"
Right.
And that's just the attitude in Washington. I mean, what do you got to do here? You have all this success and for nothing. You're going down 2-0 in the series versus Columbus. I mean, not Columbus is a pushover, but man, that fan base must just be so sad. And I do want Ovechkin to win a cup, but at the same time, it's like you gotta win it yourself. You can't just.
Yeah, you don't win Stanley Cups off of pity, just because everybody wants you to. Hey, if that were the case, Pavelski, Marlowe, and Thornton would have won one in San Jose.
Right, and that's a huge point too. I mean, I don't know. Ovi's the best goal scorer of this generation.
Absolutely.
And it's gonna suck if they get swept, which I think it's gonna happen. I think Columbus is gonna go home, and I think no more overtime for that. I think they're gonna finish it off in regulation.
Since I want a hot take right now, okay. All right. If Ovechkin doesn't win this year in the playoffs, do you see him leaving Washington?
Not this year. No.
Well, not this year, obviously, but when his contract's up.
Yeah, at the end of his contract, I definitely think. I mean, I don't think he's one of those guys that just abandoned the ship that he sailed for all these seasons. I think he's one of those guys where it's like, yeah, he wants to win a cup, but he wants to win a cup with his team. I don't see him trying to go from team to team, trying to figure out something. I think once his contract is over, I think that's it. I think she's gonna go home. Well, like that too.
And yeah, and that too. And not to mention, if the Capitals continue not to win, do you think maybe they start looking at the GM, or how many more years to give Barry Trotz?
I think Barry Trotz is gone. I think that he's. I think it's one of those things where both the GM or the owner and the coach are kind of like, yeah, we've had our run here, and maybe I think it's time for us to move on. He's had loads of success in Washington in the regular season,
and before that, he had it in Nashville as well. Exactly. So he has that type of resume to where he can really go anywhere and coach.
Yeah, and you stated when we're off there, Calgary fired their coach Glenn Glutzen. I can't probably butchering that. No, there's a team there that could use a solid coach, and he brings that defensive minded play, which they have a solid defense there and a pretty good offense. I mean, going off topic there, but that would be a good place I would want to go. They have a young core and a team that you could win with. But realistically, I think his time in Washington is over.
Okay, and that's a fair statement after all the years of success. Absolutely. All right, let's go ahead real quickly. We got like 5 minutes or so. Let's go ahead and talk about our last series of the day here. Tampa Bay Lightning versus New Jersey Devils. Devils are in a deficit 2-1. Came out for Game 3 with that winning mentality and finally won a game. What did you make of the first 3 games of the series?
Taylor Hall is amazing.
Yes.
It's the Taylor Hall versus Tampa Bay Lightning. Like, wow, is that guy just doing everything? I don't know what they're feeding him. I don't know what he's drinking.
Steroids.
And I don't know what kind of skates he's putting on, but he's just everywhere. Defensively, offensively, neutral zone. I think if they were last night, Corey Schneider had I feel like his leg was injured, and he kind of went down a couple times, and it looked like he wasn't going to play. I think they were thinking maybe we could just put Hall in that. Maybe we'll just give him the pads, and we'll just put him in that.
We're just going to go ahead and go with an empty net there. Let's go ahead and let's get to Corey Schneider here, who played in one game. 1-0. Goals against average of 1.43. 96 save percentage, which is a lot better than Keith Kincaid, unfortunately.
Well, I don't blame Keith Kincaid, but talking about how he's 1-0. You know, me and you, we had the same win margin as he did this year. He hasn't won a game since December 27, 2017.
Wow.
Yeah. And I don't blame Keith Kincaid at all. The defense in New Jersey has been horrid. And they're just giving up these main shots, and you can't stop all of them.
Right.
I mean, if you're going to give up 10 A-plus shots on any goaltender, they're going to score. I mean, it's tough saying that, and it's tough that he got pulled, and he looked really mad that he got pulled. I don't blame him. He played well for the shots that are realistically able to stop.
Right, and you know, with the goals against average of 5.87, save percentage of just over 80. I mean, that's tough to be. You know, you're finally getting a shot to play in the playoffs, and then your team really doesn't come and play for you. It's tough.
Yeah, and I don't know that Corey Schneider can save this series, but you know they win one last night at home. That the Rock, I think it's called the Rock. It was rocking last night, and I don't know. I feel that Tampa Bay is just going to come into the next game and it's going to be lights out for New Jersey. I think that they're going to win the next two, and that's it. I mean, good, you won a game, but I really don't see any momentum going into the next game for New Jersey. Yeah, you win a big game against Tampa, but how big is that a win?
And I had New Jersey in 7.
That's nuts.
I mean, that still could potentially happen.
I don't see it. I don't know. I do think Tampa. What do you think? You think Tampa's going to win this next game, or New Jersey wins it at home?
I think that's a tough one. I'm going to say New Jersey is going to win in overtime.
Okay.
And I think Nico Hischier is going to get that game-winning goal.
And he only has 1 goal and only has 5 shots.
It's going to be 2-1.
2-1. You think he? I don't know. I haven't really seen him this whole series so far.
No, but you know what? All it takes is one shift to sort of get your game back, I guess. And that's the thing. And that should be the mentality for the whole New Jersey Devils. I get that you're playing one of the best teams in the league, arguably a team who has been talked about. They're going to win the cup the entire year, besides Vegas. Tampa Bay was that team. Saw Andrei Vasilevsky give up a couple of bad goals last game, so his head could be shaky. We'll see if he can sort of clear it, have a short memory, at least. I mean, you never know.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I mean, obviously we saw it during the regular season. He went from Vezina Trophy winner to just a pretty average goaltender. And I mean, in the playoffs so far, up until last night, he was doing really well. I don't know. It's kind of an X factor, but at the same time, kind of like how Nashville is. Like if they have a bad goaltender, they could really outscore their problems. And I mean, it's one game they don't score a lot of goals, but in the next game they could come out and score 8. And that's the scary part about Tampa Bay. Wow, like I said, they're kind of like Pittsburgh in fact, where they have 4 lines that could just come out and score you out of the game.
That's a good point. Real quick here before we get off the air. Well, we got plenty of time now that we don't have a show after us. You think we're talking first round next week?
I think with the Winnipeg and Wild series, yes. I think with that series, I think with Nashville and Colorado, maybe the Washington Columbus, maybe. But I really don't think with how much momentum is going on with Columbus right now that Washington can overtake it.
Well, I know we're going to have at least 2 series that are done and over with. It's going to be the Vegas series and the San Jose series.
You think they're done? You think it's
I think San Jose ends Anaheim in a sweep. I'm going to say LA goes down in 5.
I think they both were like, all right, well, we know who we're going against in the second round.
Right.
And they're both looking at each other right now. That's going to be a fun series. San Jose and Vegas, both high-octane offenses coming at each other. It's going to be ultimately whose goaltender plays better, and I think Fleury has the edge over Martin.
You know what? I would say for the season-wise, from what we've seen from Marc-Andre Fleury, absolutely.
Yeah.
Martin Jones has sort of been consistent, either consistently good or consistently bad. There's no healthy medium with the guy. However, if they get into trouble, let's not forget both teams have very capable goaltenders in Malcolm Subban and as well as Aaron Dell. So I think that's something we need to keep in mind too.
Yeah, I mean this season, Martin Jones, he won 30 games, lost 22. I mean, he had he wasn't bad, but he wasn't that good either. But I don't know. I do feel I'm excited to see that series. Do you think? I mean, the real hot take here is thinking now, what if Philly comes back and beats Pittsburgh?
That will be amazing.
I mean, what if Brian Elliott plays like he played in Game 2, and that's the rest of the game? You know, I mean, I don't think so, but at the same time, that's a big what if too. I don't know. These playoffs, I'm interested in them, and obviously with Toronto too. I feel Toronto could go. Oh, Toronto too. I think Toronto's going to go in 7. Toronto 6 or 7.
Ooh, that definitely could be. Absolutely.
So I mean, I'm really watching the Toronto Boston series. Obviously, big Leafs fan. But but yeah, no.
You are?
Yeah, right. That's a good. It's good. It was good experience for the Leafs to get. I mean, I wouldn't say I can't wait to go lose because it's giving me great experience. But coming into game 3 and winning it at home and being able to, be that team that we've saw all season, it was great to see. And going into game 4, I hope to see more of the same. And I hope that Babcock is gonna say, hey, let's just play nonstop. With Riley was fantastic, by the way. Riley's finally shown he's the number 1 defenseman. I think he was been kind of compared to being like a 1B, not like totally like your number 1. But this series, he's been really good,
absolutely,
especially in game 3. So I'm convinced. I'm all in. Are you?
Well, I'm all in.
I am. So anyway, guys, we're going to be taking off here soon. If you want to follow us on Twitter, we're at the Penalty Box CSR. You can follow me on Twitter at Michaels_Nikos. That's MICHALS_NIKOS. You can follow James at
JDHicks88.
Yep. And we're on YouTube too. You can look us up. The best way to find us on YouTube is you type in the space penalty space box space Jim. You'll find our interview with Jim Cornelius there. That was a really fun interview. Thank you, Jim. But you'll find us there. I think I'm holding my hands up and I have a Taves jersey. Yeah, that's the thumbnail for that. We're going to be posting a podcast soon about teams outside the NHL and what they can do for the next off season. Just look out for that. I'm gonna be posting some random content. Maybe I'll finally post my jersey collection video on there. Show off all like 70 of my jerseys.
Well, then I guess I'm gonna have to do the same thing as well.
You have like 12 Hawks jerseys, right?
So, which point? I'll post out my T-shirts too if I have to.
That's weird. No one wants to see your T-shirts.
Shut up. All right, that's where we're gonna leave it. Thank you everyone for listening to the Penalty Box. This is ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. Trying to see who else is on today. Don't really see anybody else on.
Nobody's here.
Nobody's here. All right.
And thank you thank you everybody who listened to was on Facebook Live. Rob, thanks for showing up with us. Thank you, Mr. Sean, for coming on again. Next week we'll be still talking about playoffs. We'll have him on again, probably Mr. Sean. So look out for some Oilers talk, and just to let you know, Connor McDavid is the second.
Shut up. All right, we're done. We're done. Have a good day, everybody. We're done. We're done.
Patrick not.
We're done. We're done.
You're listening to ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. It's not just sports, it's a way of life.
Hey, it's Chris Reese, and I am so glad to be back at IMS. I graduated back in 2007, started my career at US 99.5, started working with Lisa and Ray. I was the producer there for about 7-8 years, and I am so glad to be back in the building teaching some new students here, getting them back doing Adobe, getting over that fear of talking on the radio. And it's Chris Reese, night guy on 101.9 The Mix, and I am IMS.